So we haven't done this in a while, Tyler. So I have been watching your channel. I'm loving what you're doing with the shorts. You're covering the cartoons there. You've been doing a lot of stuff. We haven't done a podcast. I think it's been a year and a half.
At least. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know why. The last time we officially hung out, which was in Toronto, we had the opportunity to like film, but I think getting home was more important to us than just stopping in some random parking lot to talk for a half hour. But
Yeah, and we've seen movies. We did in Toronto we saw The Damned and we saw oh goodness. The lawyer, the prosecutor there.
how are
Um
you blanking on it? You're the one who introduced me to
I'm
it.
blanking. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I'm nervous coming to you live from my room, and I'm like, I have to say words.
Okay, well, the feeling's mutual because, yeah, the year and a half mileage is on it too.
Yeah, and I saw you the other day. I was having coffee with my uncle, and I just see you outside the window. I'm like, Tyler, and there you were. So
That was a
yeah,
hell of a coincidence, but I'm
yeah.
glad it came out that way.
And I've even seen you at the movies. You come to the movies, and I'm like, there's Tyler, and we talk about what you think about movies and stuff. We just haven't formally completed a podcast in a while. So hopefully today's the day we get it done.
Probably, probably.
Yeah, yeah. But did you ever talk about the Damned on the channel at all?
I did a video on The Damned because I that was my favorite of the two. The prosecutor, I saw it out of courtesy for you and Savan, to be completely honest. Like I enjoyed it for what it was. I kind of hope for a little more action, a little less serious stuff that didn't
Hmm.
always factor into the plot.
Now, I was a little bit. I liked it, but I liked the fight sequences. So when I think Donnie Yen, I think It Man. I think crazy fights. I think the ridiculous a triple X Return of Xander Cage ridiculous fight. That's the one I'm thinking of. And yes, I saw that in theaters, Tyler. I was so excited.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, my only frame of reference for Donnie Yen was Rogue One and John Wick
mm,
4, which I mean, dude's apparently getting a Kane movie, so hopefully like he can go further from there. But yeah, that's the thing. Like I wanted more than three action scenes
yep.
in a 2.5 hour movie that I give him credit is trying to like actually be an actor as opposed to just an action star, but that got really mixed results, especially with him being behind the camera.
Yeah, and the story was a bit disjointed at times, and it felt like a courtroom drama. Like they're like, "What if Law and Order was a martial arts part thing?" And I'm like, it sort of works, and it sort of doesn't. Now, would I go watch it again? Yes. Is it a good movie? No. Like the train fight at the end, best part of the movie. And when he
Oh,
rolls in,
absolutely.
oh my goodness, crazy fight. I love it. But and when he rolls in like the guy with the wheelchair and he's covered in blood and he's like, I object or whatever he says, to the when his friend is stalling.
I don't remember that. I
Well,
don't
he
remember it
walks in
come
the
playing
door
out
or
that
whatever.
exact way.
But he walks in and his friend has been stalling for a while there and spoiler alert, but no one's going to see this movie. I'm so sorry, everybody. This movie's not worth your time unless you're like a hardcore Donnie Yen fan like me.
It's not even in theaters anymore. Like that was what, middle of January that we saw it?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
had to have been.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then we saw The Damned, which I was particularly impressed about because the atmosphere nailed it.
It
So
was
good.
it's something you don't really see in folk horror, like winter atmosphere. And I was telling Savan in the lobby, it kind of reminded me of like the Old West where it's vast and empty, but there's nowhere to run or hide. And like snow is obviously more intimidating and perilous than just straight up sand and mountains because it gets in the way of running for safety a hell of a lot more. Usually with folk horror, it's autumn or spring because there's lots of leaves and the forest can be such a whimsical yet creepy atmosphere at the exact same time.
Yeah, the way they painted the fishing village and the inciting incident. I don't want to spoil this one because I genuinely want you to go watch The Damned because that was one of the most unique horror movies I've seen in such a long time. Like I would say, The Substance is crazy unique for its time. Excellent with body horror. I wish it won Best Actress. It didn't. Um, got the poster over there. You know, it's pretty awesome. But The Damned genuinely is worth a watch. It's worth a recommendation on my end. And I think that atmosphere and the snow and just the way they use the fog and the way the villain or the monster or whatever you want to say it is portrayed is absolutely like pitch perfect point. Director from script to screen nailed it.
I've only seen like two great 2025 movies, and one of them technically I saw back in September during TIFF, because it still doesn't have an American release, but The Damned is so far the best movie I've seen this year, which really goes to show what a lackluster year we're starting off with. I mean, I thought 2024 was shit, and it was for the most part, but this is not looking up.
Okay, so what came out this year then? That's what I'm trying to think of.
That's a good question. I'm gonna have to
Okay,
like look at my
okay, I'm looking at it here. So we had the Wolf Man, which did not do very well.
no,
We
and
had
from what I've heard from like hardcore fans, there was no reason for it to exist.
Yeah, we did. There was Love Hurts. There was a new Bridget Jones apparently. Last Breath hit theaters, which is interesting enough, like a survival type movie
It was decent. It was
underwater.
decent. I liked it.
There was The Gorge came out. That was Apple TV. There was a
Which was
back in
actually also all right.
Yeah, there was the Back in Action, the Netflix Cameron Diaz movie, which was just overwhelmingly average, but works for a Netflix movie. And my goodness, I can't think of anything else. What did you see?
Okay, we talked about this in the car ride to Toronto that I enjoyed Better Man for what it is. I can't say it made me a Robbie Williams fan other than Rock DJ, which I still listen to
Mm,
on loop as often, but I do like that it's not the same old biopic for the most part. Like portraying him as the chimp, but nobody else notices as if it's like a subconscious look at himself. That was really cool. The effects for him were like pitch perfect, which he's the only CG. Well, for the most part, he's the only CGI thing. The Rock DJ is not an actual long take. They definitely digitized some stuff to put it together, a lot of lens flares to distract you, but it's still a well done choreographed number. And it does the Rocket Man thing where it's an actual musical and there's a lot of surreal imagery that's more psychological drama than a straight up biopic. But like it still hit the formula of like hitting the highs and lows, the drug addiction, the love affair, and there were a couple minor twists thrown in, but it was average story above average execution.
yeah, I Better Man technically was last year for me. I didn't even see it.
Well, but I mean it
I'm
didn't
not a
come out
Robbie Williams fan.
here.
Oh yeah, it didn't come out here. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it in early access screening where I didn't know what the movie was going to be until it
Oh,
started. Like there's
mm.
I've done a few of those. A lot of them have been pretty underwhelming. Like this isn't the worst movie I've seen this year, but it's one of the most disappointing. Osgood Perkins is the monkey
Oh
because
yeah. I thought it was fun but forgettable.
well, here's the thing. I like Blackcoat's daughter a lot. I loved Long Legs. Like it really made my heart race when I saw it in the theater.
Mm.
But then when the trailers hit, it became obvious that it was a dark comedy. I'm just sitting there going, "Oh, this could be interesting, but are you the right guy to make that kind of horror comedy?" And the answer is yes and no. Like he has good ideas for jokes, but he doesn't tell them in the best possible way. One guy on Letterboxd actually described it best. It felt more like Scary Movie than an actual
Mm.
movie.
Yeah,
Es-
that's fair because it's sort of a parody of itself at the time of like how ridiculous can these kills get, and these characters don't really matter at a point.
well, half the time, like rules of physics and logic just go completely out the window. I mean, the group of cheerleaders that cheer on the morgue every time there's a dead body, I'm just sitting there going, I should be laughing at this, but I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck is even happening right now?
I think the problem with the monkey is it was trying to be an 80s horror movie, but it was trying to be as serious as the 90s. And 80s and 90s horror are very seldomly mix. You have to commit to the 80s campy stupidity or the 90s sort of intensity, but it's dumb.
If Sam Raimi or Peter Jackson made the monkey in the 80s or 90s, like it would be awesome.
Oh yeah, it feels like what was that one with the bank teller lady where she curses it? Girl goes to the bank, she doesn't get the teller, she doesn't give it to the old lady, and she's cursed. What's the one I'm thinking of?
I don't know if I'd compare it to Drag Me to Hell, but
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah, it gives me that sort of vibes of like the silly setup, and then things just happen because they can.
well, and the weird thing is it didn't know when to be silly and when to be serious. Like Theo James as the main twin is so deadpan and dry that I just didn't give a shit whatsoever. And the evil twin, who's like Brian Adams dressed as Constantine, was the right amount of cheesy, but not in it enough. And I told you this already, but it still pisses me off. I hate the fact that they got Elijah Wood to be like the spoiled billionaire slash Christian stereotype, which normally I hate in movies because they're so overblown and one-sided. But I mean, he played it like an Adam Sandler villain who just loves being such a dickhead. And it's such a change of pace for Elijah Wood because he's always the scrawny loser and everything. He does a great job. Like, I told you about one of my favorite shows where he's technically an awful person, but like he makes that character so innocent. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, this is really selling me on it. But he only has the one scene and they don't really
Yep.
give him anything funny to do.
Well, for me, Elijah Wood can be really funny or dramatic because, like in Sin City, where he's the evil yellow-eyed killer guy, super awesome and dramatic, but he's also the loser there. But you got to think he's also the loser in Cooties. I love Cooties. You see that thing?
I haven't. Wasn't he a
Oh,
producer for that?
he did produce it, and he had some say in the script. But basically, kids who haven't hit puberty yet eat these chicken nuggets and turn them into zombies. But he's also going back to this supply teaching school to basically reconnect with a lost love. And it's so silly and dumb, and it just goes right over the top immediately. And you see this like you watch the opening of The Last of Us, which was a great zombie show from last year, right? And you see these like the strain going around and the dramatic music, but imagine that with kids and chicken nuggets. So it immediately jumps right to being meta and over the top. And for me, Elijah Wood wasn't the best part of the monkey. I liked I keep forgetting his name. The guy from Parks and Rec. That guy. I like that guy.
Adam Scott did have one of the
I
best
love
scenes in
that
the
guy.
movie.
But yeah, no, what also so these are the top 10 grossing movies of the year. We have Captain America at 185 million, Dogman at 92 million, One of These Days at 49 million, Paddington in Peru, which I haven't got to see yet. I'm very excited. I'm seeing that Friday. Or when I get a chance. That's 41 million. Den of Thieves 2, 36 million. The Monkey, 35 million. Mickey 17, 33 million. Hard Eyes, Flight Risk, and Companion. And I'm sure you have a lot to say about Mickey 17.
Well, to be honest, I'm not planning on seeing it just
Oh.
because, well, here's the thing. I saw the trailer for it back when I got the early IMAX screening for Folie à Deux,
Hmm.
and the trailer just rubbed me the wrong way. Like the music choices, the jokes they were telling, the performances all just felt really off. And what I mean by that is it's got that the theme song was Ain't That a Kick in the Head, which I get the
Oh,
irony in
Dean
that.
Martin from Ocean's
Yeah,
11. Tell
yeah.
me, ain't that a kick in the head? And they rob the casino and everything. It's fantastic.
As Robert Pattinson is doing this, I guess, Johnny Knoxville impression as Mickey 17, or at least according to him, like he differentiated the two clones as Knoxville and Steve-O, and then Bong Joon-ho just went, don't do the Steve-O voice again, like ever. Which might have been his best decision, but yeah, like the jokes felt so standard, like when they throw the body down the fire and it's just like, oh wait, he's still breathing. Oh well, throw him in. And I'm just sitting there going, seen that a million times. The twins fighting with each other, that's been done to death. Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette, even in the trailer, are so loud and obnoxious in the eat the rich fashion that you would expect from Bong Joon-ho, but I'm fucking sick of the eat the rich stereotypes. Not because they're not true, like they are, but for starters, I don't go and see a movie to be reminded of the people and topics that I hate most about life, especially when I already know the fucking lesson that they are awful people. Do I really need Rich people, ironically, to tell me that rich people suck for 2 hours straight nonstop. No, I don't. We fucking get it.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that's the difference of why movies like they are what they are, and that's why I will just say my little piece on the Oscars. I didn't want to host the Oscars this year, and it's you got the Amelia Perez, you have the complete unknown. I'm not into these movies. I just don't really care. The movies this year did not hit. The last year did not hit for me because they're always like grounded reality pieces about how bad we are as human beings, or as fill in the blank for whatever cause you want, or a music biopic. I'm so sick of the formula and what they have to offer. Like when I hosted the Oscars this year, I just straight up didn't talk about the movies because I didn't care about most of them. Like I would say last year, my favorite movies were The Substance because it was so refreshingly over the top. It still had a commentary in it. Yes, it did, but it was fun. I want fun in my movies. I just want to go and have fun at the movies, but I want it to make sense. I don't want you to be Captain America, whatever that shit was. That was confusing stupidity. I want to go and have fun with these things, and I'm over Boon Jong Ho. I'm going to be honest. I'm over it. I saw Memories of Murder and says, that's a cool Korean episode of Law and Order. I saw the host and said, okay, I've seen better monster movies. I love Godzilla. I love monster movies. That's my thing. I love, like, I would rather watch Rubber than watch the host again. I just don't care. I just don't care. There's better monster movies out there. It's not as fun as it could be. Parasite, I watched again. We did a fifth anniversary screening. I thought, this is great. I really love Parasite. This is going to be his best movie going down. And I looked at Mickey 17 and I said, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat already exists. And I love that movie. And I'm okay.
I agree that Parasite is probably his best movie. And the cool thing about it is, regardless of what you think its economic message about it is, you could be whatever ideology and still get whatever you want out of it. If you're a pro-socialist, you can claim that it's a situation where the system is rigged against the characters and that's why they strike back. But from a capitalist perspective, such as ourselves, you can just sit there and go, like, greed exists in rich people and poor people for completely different reasons. Rich people, because they take everything for granted and do think they own the world, but poor people who become more resentful of those that they think have earned it less and feel as if they have an incentive to break the rules by basically coming up with their own morality that's inconsistent. Like, it's a thought-provoking movie, whether you agree with the filmmaker's perspective or not. And above else, it's funny, it's suspenseful, it is beautifully shot. The actors, regardless of how well you're versed in Korean language, you can look at their timing and delivery, and they're all fantastic. I mean, God, Bong Joon-ho is going to make movies with Song Kang-ho for the rest of his life, and for good reason. Song Kang-ho is a great actor. I didn't like his one movie Broker that he did with
Haven't seen it.
Corey, but I saw him speak at TIFF, and he seemed like such a great guy.
Mm.
And in regards to the Oscar stuff, I did a list of shorts of what it would look like if I picked the Oscar nominees, and there was a lot of long legs. There was a lot of Inside Out too. I literally put Maya Hawke as my pick for Best Supporting Actress because her
Mm.
voice work made Anxiety the best, most thought-provoking character in Inside Out too, because she's technically the antagonist, but she doesn't have a malicious intent. She's not quote unquote a bad guy. She's the worst out of all the emotions, don't get me wrong, but like you understand where it's coming from. And more importantly, there's redemption for her, which how often can you really say that about any kids' movies? How often do they have the redemptive arc anymore or show that people can change and learn from their mistakes? I mean, when Riley has her anxiety attack, but then takes that deep breath and just accepts what happens, moves on, like I cry every time I watch that scene. And that's the thing. Like Inside Out 2 has commentary that the Oscars is looking for, but it also has the entertainment value. It has artistic creativity. I personally think that Inside Out 2 was better than the first one because the world
Mhm.
building is much more massive. There are different animation styles from different perspectives. Like Ron Funches as the Blue's Clues parody. I could watch that thing for like an hour or so. That was just such a good satire of what those cartoons were like back then. And more importantly, like the emotions that got screwed over in the first movie, they're actually almost an ensemble to Amy Poehler, which it's really hard to say. Hell, I could go on and on about how Flow, a movie about
That's a great movie.
yeah, a
That's
cat, a
fantastic.
dog, a capybara, and a lemur have more character depth than the
Yeah.
majority of the Oscar nominees, and they don't even talk for crying out
And
loud.
you said it right there, character depth. What we're missing in these movies is all movies are look at this cause, look at my political agenda. And regardless if you're left or right or center, doesn't matter where you are, I want you to start with an incredible character. And if you happen to be fill in the blank, that's where Amelia Perez absolutely missed the mark. We have all political, no character. And the songs are terrible. And that's where something like I was watching Lady Bird again the other day. And Lady Bird is through and through a feminist movie. But Lady Bird is a fantastic character. And it's better than Barbie. I'll say that any day because it's we meet this character, we see her struggles, and the whole story is all about how can I be a better person, and that's feminism basically right there in a nutshell. With Bay saying she's the best person throughout that, but we learn we like the character we want, we're invested in her. And if we're gonna have a political message, we have to have a great character we're so invested in, we want to see them grow and learn. If they happen to hit those messages, we're with them because that's part of their journey. We need great characters. Flo has great characters without words. I wanted personally, Memoirs of a Snail did not get enough love. That is a great movie. It's so funny. It's beautiful. It's tragic. It's beautifully stop motion animated. It is one of the best movies of last year that no one is talking about. And the story of the idea of the snail, and when you get into it, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's phenomenal, but it has great characters with its message. It's phenomenal.
It- there were so many times in Memoir of a Snail where I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and that was
Yeah.
the greatest beauty of it. Despite the fact that everything's brown and murky, you can still find like you can still find the silver lining in between it, which obviously is the point. Adam Elliott thrives on stories like that. I mean, if you've seen Mary and Max, which is good, like Memoir of a Snail is better in my opinion. A lot of that comes from the voice acting in particular. Like in my shorts, I listed Sarah Snook as a potential best actress category because as great as the animation is, like she made that character. The very few scenes that he had, Cody Smith McPhee as the brother, he made that character. Jackie Weaver as the sweet, dotty old lady who you never know whether she's senile or just has her own point of view in life. I've never seen Jackie Weaver be such a pleasant person because she's usually a bitch in everything she's done. But God, did I struggle to fight back tears during the last 10 minutes
Yep.
alone?
Yep. It comes full circle.
Which is more than I can say for like so many other movies that got Oscar
Moana
consideration.
2.
Which one?
Moana 2. I really thought they were going to give that an Oscar. I
No,
watched
no,
that
people
and I was
didn't.
like, it's the same thing again.
No, people didn't. Well, weirdly enough, people didn't even stick up for Moana 2 when it was in the theater because
I think I'd rather watch a direct to sequel like Little Mermaid 2 or like Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas over Moana 2 because at least
I
they
can't go
tried.
I can't go that far.
They tried in that one, or Aladdin 2. I'll take Aladdin 2.
Eh,
Prince of Thieves, the
that's
third one, is
debatable.
pretty fun.
King of Thieves has its moments and a couple
I like
songs,
it.
so I'll give you that. But I don't know, it's just you hit it on the head completely about how the cause is more important than the actual story and characters, or it is the story and characters, which this has happened a million times in the past before. I mean, Quentin Tarantino said it best when he was on Rogan. Like the 50s were all about like the messaging and 80s were all about self-censorship. And according to him, the 2020s is basically the 80s redux. But there's always something that comes around that changes that pattern because audiences get so sick of the cynicism, they just want good old-fashioned stories. Like the Empire of Dreams documentary about Star Wars, it started off talking about how the 70s were full of gritty, downbeat cinema full of anti-heroes. And then in comes Star Wars that has that classic hero's journey that people fall in love with cinema in the first place, fall in love with storytelling to begin with. So
Mm.
I think it's really just a matter of waiting for a filmmaker to be allowed to tell a more uplifting story, or at the very least, studios just try and go to the A24 or Neon route where they just give filmmakers the chance to like actually make the story their way, not where Bong Joon-ho has to win an Oscar in order for the studio to write them a blank check. Or this is one thing I notice about the Hollywood system. If a filmmaker is ever allowed to like have full control over something, they have to be an Oscar winner or nominee in order to get something done. Like, how else would Shyamalan have such horrible acting and writing for over a decade in the studio system other
Oh,
than Sixth Sense he almost won?
like if Shyamalan hadn't almost won or been nominated for an Oscar, he'd be doing direct to DVD stuff after Unbreakable. Like that's what he'd be doing, like really low budget stuff, like Den of Thieves 2 or like Flight Risk or like these
Um,
nothing nobodies, like these sort of like like those Mel Gibson '90s movies where you're like, "Yep, it's a movie."
it's a possibility. I think he's too stubborn to have ever gone that route, even if he failed, but he definitely wouldn't have the same amount of success or control that he does now, which it's debatable how much success he has in the first
But I
place.
mean,
But
he had a big budget hit with The Sixth Sense, and then Unbreakable was also a big hit. I quite like Unbreakable, and
and
I enjoy The Sixth Sense and
Signs was
Signs.
decent.
But
That
you
made a
gotta,
shit ton of
he's got
money.
the same track record as like a Roland Emmerich, who had Independence Day and all these sort of big blockbusters, and then all of a sudden his movies are just crap. And like he has like a minor sort of producing credit on a movie that people like, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, it goes away." So there's your split, and then it sort of disappears.
I give him credit. Knock at the Cabin was like the best thing he had done since Signs, and makes me wish that Trap had been better.
Well, I will give credit to Knock at the Cabin because that made me believe in Dave Batista. That along with Blade Runner 2049, because he's a really good actor. And then I saw him in Dune. I was like, this guy's really great. I see why he doesn't want to be like the random green guy painted up with a knife anymore, you know? He
And I'm
wants to
glad you
do real
mentioned
stuff.
And I'm glad you mentioned Dune because Dune does have like the messaging that the Oscars look for because like there's stuff about warring countries, there's stuff about religious authority, but it also has like a massive spectacle. It has action scenes that people enjoy watching. It has a visual style that you're usually not allowed to have in any other movie. I mean, the scene in the Gladiator match where like the sun turns everything black and white. What other movie would do that? And do it as well as they did.
That's a very good question. I watched Dune 1 and I loved it. And we saw Dune 1 together, I do believe, way back.
Yeah, my
And then
first
at
time
Dune
around.
Part 2, I watched on Crave there at home, and I was like, this is really good. It just doesn't blow my brain as much. I know I probably should have seen it in IMAX or something, but
Yeah, you absolutely should have. I saw
I,
it
I
like three
still liked it.
times.
I
I saw
liked
it like
it.
3 times on IMAX, man. I could have taken you.
Well, I'm seeing Pink Floyd in IMAX pretty soon, so Live at Pompeii, I'm super hyped for that.
Fuck, that's the same day as Princess Mononoke.
I'm going to Toronto to see it because I need to be there for the big gong and the controls for the Heart of the Sun and echoes and like I don't know how much you know about me, but I love Floyd. Floyd's like my thing. Early Floyd, all Floyd.
I
I
mean, that
love
doesn't
Floyd.
surprise me.
And so for me, I didn't get The Wall for a long time. Then I watched the movie and I was like, oh, I get it now. And
I
then
still
live.
need to see The Wall. Maybe I'll add that to like a list of Halloween stuff to watch.
Well, my guess is if Live at Pompeii does really well, they'll do a re-release of The Wall in theaters because money. Um,
Something tells me they'll find like a nostalgic reason to do that
yeah.
anyways.
When did that come out? That was 79. What would that be? Like,
30, 45 years ago at least.
well, they could put an anniversary next year and say we're remaster 4K of The Wall or whatever.
Well, yeah,
You
like for what
know?
other reason would you put older movies out? In fact, for all the stuff Disney's done with remaking their own shit, they used to have the tradition of re-releasing their own movies on the big screen every
Yep.
fewer 3 or 4 years. And I'm just sitting there going, Well, why the fuck don't they just do that? Like they'd make as much, if not more money for the real thing.
You also don't have to market it. People know what it is. You do 5 screenings. You make your money back without any effort. You don't make
Uh,
a poster.
I don't know. For their 100th anniversary, nobody knew that Pirates of the Caribbean, Toy Story, or Frozen were really playing in theaters.
Oh,
It
I
also
mean,
didn't help that they limited it to only a select few cities in particular, because like not even Toronto was showing any of that stuff.
really,
I don't get it either.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I feel like people would go see that.
No, they absolutely would.
Well, I
Well,
mean, look,
now that we all know Johnny was innocent, they would.
what was that piece of crap that they put out for their 100th anniversary? That movie with the that I didn't like.
Wish.
Wish. That's it. That
Yeah.
was awful. That was like the worst Disney thing I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of Disney crap. It was just so forgettable in every way without any. It was uninspired, unimaginative, and I don't understand why that would be their 100th anniversary product.
It looked unbelievably cheap. That was the reason I didn't go
Yeah,
see it.
it's got that TV animation.
Oh, not even. Like I've seen straight to video stuff with higher quality than that.
Disney is weird, but that actually leads me to my next subject.
Oh no.
Segue.
Oh
Here we
no.
go. Here we are. I am a hardcore Star Wars fan, and I have seen Star Wars articles coming out for the last week. Star Wars Celebration. For months, they say Kathleen Kennedy is going to retire, and then she's not, and then they're choosing a successor, and it's Dave Filoni, and Mando's not a TV show, and it's now a movie or something. What is, as you, Tyler, the Disney guy, what is the future of Star Wars with Disney?
That is an excellent question. I don't think even they really understand their own product, given how we all know what a massive, inspiring hit The Acolyte was, with just managing to piss off even the most diehard of fans in the easiest ways that could have been avoided. For starters, like don't hire Weinstein's personal secretary to write the show and sneak in some subtle reminders of her past, the way that the villain sways the female hero in quotes because she turns evil for really no reason at the very end.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch The Acolyte because I didn't care, and I had given up on Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett. And after Last Jedi, I was like, I liked that one enough, and I thought that was the best. And then whatever the Jedi thing was with the Star Destroyers and the either Emperor clone thing, and I don't know what they were really doing. I think they were coming into it the same
Nobody
way.
does. I don't think even they knew what they were doing because like rumor has it it's weird. Like Abrams made the original plan was that Abrams, Johnson, and Trevorrow, who
Yeah.
I'm honestly kind of glad that he didn't do Rise of Skywalker because the fact that Abrams fucked it up, just imagine what Trevorrow would have
If
done.
I have to see this new Jurassic piece of fucking shit crap, I'm gonna burn something. I'm gonna start a fire and become mild arson. I don't want to touch this thing. I don't
Then don't
care about
don't
Jurassic
see
anything.
it.
Oh, my buddy's gonna try to drag me and bribe me with free tickets and popcorn.
Call me. I'll try and find some bullshit excuse to get you out of there.
We'll find something. But no, I'm glad he did not touch Star Wars because that would be even worse than the Acolyte.
Which, weirdly enough, like when Palpatine showed up in Rise of Skywalker, Kennedy shot off her mouth saying that this was part of the plan from the beginning to bring him back. And then I guess Tomorrow in an interview said, really? Because first time I'm hearing about any of this. And then his script apparently leaked saying that Palpatine was either never there or was just a hologram or something like that. And I'm just sitting there going, and this was
Yeah.
2019. This was like almost 6 years ago.
Oh, when Adam Driver was like jumping up, like Ray spent like 20 minutes trying to get into this place, and he gets it in like a minute. I started laughing. And when the Star Destroyers came out of the planet, I started laughing. What a hysterical piece of crap! It was
You
a
know, the weird
comedy.
thing is, the first time I saw Rise of Skywalker, I actually liked it as a fast-paced, guilty pleasure action movie. And then the second
Okay.
time I saw it, all the flaws just randomly appeared, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, Shit. Good thing
Well,
I'm
Wedge
just glad.
Antilles came back, and he said he wouldn't come back for any reason unless it was a good reason, and that was a bad reason to come back, even for one scene in a cockpit.
Just bribe him with cold malt liquor, he'll show up.
But like, I think we've got too much Star Wars on the market. Personally, every time I go to watch it,
Everybody agrees with that, even the
when
people who are
we
sucking up to it.
like, even Marvel's guilty of this. They don't go with a plan. They've got too much on the market, and like, I think the one thing we forget is Lucasfilm is the whole thing in the balance, and that's Indiana Jones, that's Willow, that's the Dark Crystal, that's all these shows, that's all these properties combined. But they only give us Star Wars. It's sort of like Nintendo. They only acknowledge that Mario and Kirby exist, right? But there's Star Fox, and there's all these other major franchises, but they don't want to touch them. And I don't know why. Like, did they not have a story to tell? Did they don't think they're as popular? Like, there's a Willow fan base. There is a Dark Crystal fan base. They made a TV show, right? Whether it's good or bad, they did it. The Indiana Jones, there is a fan base if you don't do it terribly. You know my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Phoebe Waller-Bridges incident and Sad Old Man the movie. But like, Indiana Jones is a hero. He's human. And if you want to introduce someone else and you want Phoebe Waller-Bridge to be a cool person in here, put her as an ally where they're both on an equal footing. But Disney's not going to do that because strong independent woman bullshit nonsense. And if you want to have her do her own movie, give her own movie. Give her own movie. Make her a new character in the world where Indiana Jones happens to have one cameo scene and then he goes away. And Harrison Ford is like, "Yeah, I got my $1 million for standing there and looking sad and pathetic." And don't ruin Salah on me. Salah is amazing. He is the captain of the Pinafore. He will come and save them. Don't ruin these characters we love. Pay homage to them and put them in a movie as she's in the room with Indiana Jones doing something, and she says, "Now I'm going on my own adventure." And then we don't ruin Indiana Jones. He just happens to be there to pass the torch. That's perfectly okay. But don't give me these overhyped CGs. Don't ruin James Mangold, one of the best directors of the 21st century. I mean, if you look at the race car movie he made, which was great, Rush, and then he did the best X-Men movie we got in the longest time, probably since X2. Don't ruin these great directors. He did in Complete Unknown was a vast improvement over the Dial of Destiny. Don't take Mads Mikkelsen, one of the coolest character actors, one of the best villains for things, and be like, "Oh, I forgot how time travel works, and now we're in ancient Rome." Don't give me this. Give me something that's well crafted, well put together. I'm taking Crystal Skull over Dial of Destiny, which is a really sad thing to say because that movie has moments, but at its core, Indiana Jones is Indiana Jones. They nailed that point. And Shia LaBeouf isn't even that bad. I mean, some of the scenes are stupid and the ants and the aliens or whatever, but you have to know your characters. And I feel like they're completely out of touch with the characters in Indiana Jones. And if they want to do new characters, make new franchises, make new characters. Don't come along and be like, "Well, this is Indiana Jones." Don't just tag a name on it because you want to do it. That's what happened for years for the Get Smart movie, for the A-Team movie, for the Magnum PI reboot, for the MacGyver. Make your own original shit and stop killing other things. Be original, do that. And that's what the new Lucasfilm head needs to be. Male, female, doesn't matter. They need to have a vision, they need to have creativity, and we can't just say Jon Favreau is in charge of Star Wars because now we're too inside baseball, right? We're looking at this where they're like, "Oh, well, I want to go deep in this, but we're not going to touch any of the expanded universe stuff. We're just going to pick and choose what we like." No, you have to acknowledge all Star Wars. You have to acknowledge this. We don't want Star Wars detours, Jon Favreau. That show is bad. I don't need Star Wars Rebels with young, whatever, Darth Vader and Leia hanging out. I want honest to goodness compelling storytelling, great characters, and creativity brought back to the universe. And I never want to see a Skywalker ever again.
Why was I even here during this rant?
I don't know. This is what I was thinking about. But like, what do you want out of Star Wars as a casual fan? Like, you want to watch Star Wars TV shows, movies? What do you want? What's going to get you back into Star Wars?
Just give me something I haven't seen before and something I haven't seen before that was good. I mean, the reason Mandalorian had a fan base originally before they started going stupid was that it was a space western. I mean, the reason Bill Burr joined The Mandalorian for those 2 episodes was because it reminded him of old Clint Eastwood movies, the way they were shot, the fact that it is bounty hunters doing their own thing, just like the Old West. And I mean, outer space where there really are no rules, no limits on what you could do, especially with having different creatures go up against each other. Yeah, that would absolutely work. And there are so many other genres that you could do with this kind of thing. I mean, I give Acolyte credit. They were trying to do like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style martial arts. It failed, but I give them credit that they at least tried to do something different in that regard. Um, and apparently Andor is good because of the political drama aspect of it. I mean, political drama is not what I look for in Star Wars because George Lucas built this franchise from the ground up, and even he showed through the prequels that he didn't have a basic understanding of what people wanted from it in the first place, which, let's face it, is the reason that when he sold Lucasfilm, we all said good riddance because we didn't think it could get any worse, which I will say this, like Kathleen Kennedy hires actors who can at least do something. She just tells them to do the absolute wrong thing by all means necessary. And whether it's her ego or the fact that her husband, Frank Marshall, has been up Spielberg's ass for years, that like she feels she's entitled to some level of success. Because I mean, she's always been like production credit on almost everything Amblin for decades.
Starting from Temple of Doom, I do believe was her first credit.
Somewhere in there. And you'd think someone who had been around for decades under Lucas and Spielberg's supervision would have some level of respect or understanding of the craft that went behind it. And maybe in her mind she does. I give South Park credit. They didn't completely throw her under the bus and at least gave her the benefit of a
Yeah,
doubt.
that was really funny.
They
That was
still ripped her to
the Bambi
shreds.
bit. Oh my goodness, the Bambi bit. Put a chick in her and make it gay. It's a deer. Do it.
I just love the
Oh.
shrimps. I just love that she asked the shrimp scampi to make it lame and gay.
Oh my goodness. I did not like like I've liked South Park and it's been I haven't watched South Park for years. It's been sort of on the decline and it exists, it's fine. But it sort of came back with a vengeance right at COVID and that Star Wars episode was like peak. Because I'm not a Integrity Farm sort of thing. I don't think it's terrible. I like part of Integrity Farms, but the Cred episode was great, and like the Disney episode, and like the last season they did what 4 or 5 episodes in a movie, and like the time travel and stuff. And my goodness, that was a solid season of South Park plus TV movie attached to it or whatever.
I was gonna say, like the Star Wars satire and the Ozempic parodies, I think are the
Yes.
reason people are still watching South Park.
Oh, I don't think I've laughed so hard when he's like navigating American healthcare system. We're going to the doctor and back to the insurance company. And my goodness, Butters. Like that was on point. Like you walk into the insurance company, like, oh, how would you like to pay today? No, we want to get paid. Oh, that room over there. Oh man. No, I want out of Star Wars. I want Old Republic. I don't know why Disney is so afraid, and maybe you can help me out here, Tyler. Disney will put one Sith and 2 Jedi on screen. We're never allowed to have more than 10 Jedi or more than 2 Sith. Like the closest we ever got was the arena sequence, episode 2. Why are they so afraid to put 1,000 Sith on screen in the dark ages of the Sith? Like what is holding them back? Why can't they have more lightsabers?
Well, I mean, there's that Sith rule of two so that they can't overthrow each other all the damn time, which I mean, that rule I get. I find it weird that the Sith are a little more civilized than the
Yeah, but
Jedi
the
in
rule
that
of two
regard.
wasn't established until after the thousands of Sith that were there. That's the reason why they established the rule.
Come to think of it, because Plagueis was in the Acolyte for like 2 seconds behind a shadow or whatever, I think even they don't fully follow that one. But again, like the Acolyte tried to have 10 or so Jedi fight a Sith, and they got their asses beat in what was probably the only fun action scene within that show. If nothing else, just because the Sith got to headbutt a lightsaber with his helmet. That part was pretty
See,
cool.
now that looks interesting. I might look up that fight specifically. But I
Just
don't need
that
any
fight.
more
Like
lore on
everything
midi-chlorians
else.
or where the Force comes from. I really don't need that explained to me. I
Oh,
like the
trust me,
mystery.
even they don't stoop to that
I
level.
think I think the biggest part for me was the director's like, "Well, you don't like it. You're wrong." And it's like, "What? Why are you angry at fans for not liking it? Shouldn't you say, okay, well, I like the show. That's what you say. You know, you can't just get mad at fans because they didn't like the show." It sort of reminds me of that Bros movie that came out a few years ago, the gay rom com. And they're like, "Well, you don't like it because you're not this." And it's like, why are you getting mad at your audience? You can't get mad at your audience for not liking your thing.
Okay, well, funny thing about the Bros incident. First of all, like romance movies are not generally for guys. Like there are exceptions, but it doesn't really appeal to men all that often unless their dates drag them along or they're seriously that desperately single that they go to these movies wondering what exactly are they missing here. So there's that about it. Second of all, like there's a comedian named Tyler Fisher on YouTube who did a skit about this where he pointed out that Brokeback Mountain, The Birdcage, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, several other movies like this have been box office hits before Bros, even in eras where gay marriage wasn't even legal. So if actors of that era were willing to sign on to those stories, make them good and make money, the problem isn't the subject matter, buddy, it's you. Which reminds me of like the last thing. Billy Eichner is not leading man material at all. Like he can get in a couple good characters as like the sidekick, but aside from that, like he's just not that charismatic. And not to mention, the movie's marketing almost exclusively relied on the fact that it was gay. And I'm just sitting there going, you're not exactly making yourselves look equal to us by constantly pointing out how different you are, because that just defeats the purpose of making movies like this, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I felt like the Acolyte director did. She just got mad and said, "Well, you don't get it because you're not whatever." Fill in the blank. Her Twitter rants and stuff.
What blows my mind is how many people like kind of sucked up for it. Like I saw Doug Walker's Disney Sember of the Acolyte, and it did bug me that he seriously believed that people were being homophobic about the Space Witch colony. Like he literally said, "Oh no, there are space witches." Meanwhile, Luke and Leia made out with each other, and I'm just sitting there going, Doug, you're a smarter guy than this. You know good and hell well that's not what the majority of people were complaining about. It wasn't the presence of an all lesbian colony that people were complaining about. It was the fact that it was only in there just to spell out something that we already knew. Not to mention was the most unintentionally hilarious aspect in the entire thing, where this lesbian run colony, you make them evil in an attempt to make gay people look empowering. So I don't really know what the intent of that was.
I skipped it.
Plus, I don't know, Josh, if you saw that power of one, power of two, like
Ooh,
ritual chant.
I'm
God,
okay.
that was funny. I literally made a short of them doing the power of one, the power of two, and then it cuts to the Cyber Chase theme song saying, "We've got the power of one, two, three, four."
Cyber Chase, like from PBS.
Yeah,
I remember that show.
because I'm just sitting there like, this is the theme song to that show about math.
But here's my question, and this is the biggest question, whatever your cause is at the end of the day. If you don't know that being racist or homophobic or whatever is bad, where are you living? I think we've all figured it out by now. And if you're shoving it down our throats, we're just getting sick of you. Like, I'm so tired of being told X, Y, and Z, like, oh no, racism is bad. Yeah, I know that. I've known that since I was 5 years old. Like, how is this new? Like, who is this telling? Are you talking like the deep south racist, like the person who's never left their home? They're like, wow, racism is bad. That changed my life. Like, whose lives are you changing? At this point, put characters in who are that, who are trans, who are gay, who are whatever it may be, who are, I don't know, bisexual. Put them in a movie, make them great characters, and we know they exist. It's not news to us. Like, it's like every time we see on stage, you're like, wow, I'm gay. Wow, I never knew that was a thing for my entire life. I'm 32 and I never knew gay people existed. It's like, I know that. I don't need to discover it every single damn time. You're like, wow, these people are stupid. That white cis male man hasn't figured out that gay people exist. I know they do. I want great gay characters. I want something like really great trans characters that are in a movie that it just they happen to be, but I know they exist. I'm not stupid. Like, who is this for at this point? Like, we're
I
so
love that
woke.
you
I want to go back to bed.
I love that you turned into Mickey Mouse during that rant there for a
Oh
second.
boy, Disney
But
sucking fucks.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because whenever I see this shit, I'm just sitting there going, okay, first of all, the people who you are preaching to, the people who go and see these movies already know not only already know these lessons, but already agree with you and preach this shit on their own terms every fucking day. So like, what are they learning? Second of all, the people you're trying to convert, the people who are actually bigoted, are they seriously gonna go and see a movie if there's a black, gay, or trans person? No.
No.
No, and here's the thing, like making every movie, every show about that topic as if it's somehow forcing bigoted people to like watch these movies and shows to learn their lesson, which I think is the intent a lot of Hollywood elites are trying to accomplish. It's not going to work. And it's
No.
not going to work because there's older stuff that has objectively bad shit, which I make Looney Tunes and used to make Tom and Jerry shorts, but people stopped watching them after a while.
I love
That
Tom and
does
Jerry.
that
Love it.
does have objectively bad stuff, but here's the thing. Every time you play it on a DVD or a cassette or whatever, there's that disclaimer that says it was bad then, it's bad now. We only keep it in there because we have to remember that things were objectively worse back then.
Yeah, I think the best example is I like the Peter Pan animated movie. When I was 5 or 6 years old, we were watching the Peter Pan movie, and you know the scene. I don't have to spell it out to you.
Yeah, yeah.
But like my mom just says, this isn't right. It's an old movie. And then she told me once, and I knew it. I didn't have to be told again that this was bad, but it's in an old movie, and I know that. That's it.
Weirdly enough, it always played at my grandma's house, and nobody even acknowledged it. I mean, I saw the skin on these people. It looked like nothing I had seen in real life. And because it looked like nothing I'd seen in real life, I just didn't take it seriously. It just seemed like this is going to sound so horrible, but like when you're a 5-year-old kid and you see people look like that, you don't think it actually exists. You think it's some fantasy element behind it. It's weird how a kid's ignorance can actually make them not notice the worst of humanity. It's very fascinating in that aspect.
But like as horrible as this sounds, when we grew up, we watched Full House, we watched The Cosby Show because that's a dated show. We watched all these shows, and we're just like, these are families. That's it. That's what we saw. And
But at
regardless of what comes
least
to light, those were families. We watched the families do family things. They were quirky. Someone got, the Brady Bunch. Someone got hit with a football, Marcia, whatever. Fill in the blank. We're like, these are all families. We watched Malcolm in the Middle, different family. All the families were different, but they were great. And we didn't really be like, well, that family is wrong because of this. We're like, well, this is a family. It's funny. This is a cup. That's it. That was all we
one
thought.
thing, one thing a streaming buddy of ours, Blue Collar Loser, once pointed out on Stupenzo's stream was that every time you hear like someone talk about black representation on TV, we just sit there and go, dude, The Cosby Show was the #1 show of all TV in the 80s. Like every family of every demographic watched
What about
it.
Eddie Murphy in the 70s on SNL? There's so many people from there. I think it's the same old argument. People are like, well, women haven't been represented in film. We're like, what about Ripley from Alien? What about Dolly Parton in 9 to 5? They've been doing it forever. You just don't want to see it.
What about Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Bread Knobs and Broomsticks is great. I just watched that the other day. I picked up the DVD and I thought this is a fantastic film. Murder, She Wrote. That's a female-led show, but they didn't force it down our throats. So just like, here's a great show with a great character. And that's what it brings us back to again.
Fucking Golden Girls, for crying
Golden
out
Girls is
loud.
amazing. That's one of
Yeah,
the funniest sitcoms ever made. Those 4 girls are amazing. They're golden, in fact.
still are. Still are.
Great show, still on reruns. It's like you have great characters and stuff. Well, that transitions me to my next topic because I am a huge James Bond fan, and that is a dated franchise. I'll say that to the hearts of my content, but they're all a product of their time. They all came out at the different time, and they were great. And I've read the books and Ian Fleming, and I will say my favorite Bond is Dalton. I don't. What's your favorite Bond, out of curiosity?
Uh, that's a real tricky question because like the Daniel Craig ones are the ones I'm most familiar with, to be honest. I've always been a complete James Bond noob, but I mean, Timothy Dalton is probably my favorite of all the actors of previous eras,
Yeah,
just
we could
based
get
on other stuff that I've seen him in. So I probably would just because I think he's the best actor of the bunch, I would say Dalton.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan is fun as Bond, and I love GoldenEye. Don't get me wrong, GoldenEye is fantastic. I love the video game. I've seen the movie, but
But is
like Dalton's
GoldenEye
a
good?
better actor.
But is GoldenEye good because of Brosnan or because Martin Campbell behind the camera?
GoldenEye is good because Martin Campbell directed. Um, Sean Bean played a brilliant villain opposing of Pierce Brosnan. The fact that what's her name? I'm blanking from X-Men plays the villainess is great, and the setting and the story. It's just everything's there. It's sort of like Harry Potter. I think Harry Potter is great, not because Daniel Radcliffe is the world's greatest actor. By no means is he terrible, because you have Snape and McGonagall and Dumbledore, and you have this great world and script surrounding it in that first movie, and everyone is so much better than Harry Potter, so he just comes off really good looking.
There's that about it.
Yeah, because you don't go in for Harry Potter for Harry Potter. You're watching it for all the amazing side characters. Like even Professor Trelawney has more to do in a couple movies than Harry Potter at some points.
Yeah, like we talked about Elijah Wood for a second there. While I don't think people exclusively go for Elijah Wood to Lord of the Rings movies, especially when half the cast has gone on to do like bigger, better stuff
Yeah.
than he has. Like he's still front and center of those main movies. Like it's still his journey.
Yep. And I mean, like everyone from Ian McKellen to the supporting cast to Samwise and everyone, even Samwise and Pippin are more interesting than Frodo at points. And like, they're really great.
Sam, I'll agree because like Sam, not enough people give him credit. He's kind of the real hero of the
Yeah.
movies.
He's a really great actor too. If you see him in other stuff, he's absolutely fantastic.
You know
But
what? I take back what I said about most of the actors like surpassing Wood. I don't think God, what is Samwise's actor's name? Sean Astin. Like
Sean Astin, yeah.
his career's been relegated to like Angel Studio Christian movies.
Well, he's done some studio stuff, like some big movies and stuff. He shows up occasionally, and he's
Not
always
not a
very good in
ton
everything he
though.
does, though.
He is.
Yeah, but no, so Barbara Broccoli said a while back, and there's a history to this, and I basically that she didn't want to sell to Amazon because they wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and they wanted to change the formula. But now that they're getting older, that Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson basically they sold the franchise to Amazon, whether they sold it or if it's still in litigation. Um, and so that brought up a lot of, and you're not a hardcore James Bond fan, so this is why I'm very serious on this. Because
Even
me as
though
a
I've got a Spectre
yeah,
poster
I
right
enjoyed
there in the
Spectre
corner.
quite a bit. I don't think it's the strongest Daniel Craig movie, but I like Spectre.
I
I will
only
defend every single James Bond movie except for Octopussy and For Your Eyes Only, because those are the most boring things I've seen. And James Bond should never dress up as a clown and defuse a nuclear bomb.
I will
But
say I only have that Spectre poster because an old coworker of mine gave it to me.
but yeah, that's Bond, and they did went with a very different Bond. Like there's been rumors circulating, and I don't know if I believe any of these, but basically that Pierce Brosnan might come back and do a movie, but I don't know if that's a good idea. And they might do a Monty Penny show, and they want to do a reality show where people can be the next James Bond and stuff. But like, there's nothing been concrete. Okay, your face says go ahead.
That just makes me more and more confused. Like, what would a Money Penny show be about?
Well, she became an agent in the later films.
I know, but people are so associated with her sitting behind the desk. Like, that would be a pretty boring ass show. Like, I don't know. Apparently, I remember in Before Sunrise, there was that bit about European or Scandinavian cable shows like being as boring as just watching people live their lives. This is not what I picture when a money with a money penny show.
And then they're talking. There also people are like the speculation from a lot of the Bond critics is that they want to bring like an established previous Bond actor in, like a Dalton or a Pierce Brosnan, in to be the new M and just go like a soft reboot. Um, Over a Ralph Fiennes, and like I don't know what the future of Bond is, but did I love the Daniel Craig era? 50-50. I think it's okay. I have over the years, because No Time to Die was what, 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
I have grown to dislike that movie more and more I watch it. It feels like Daniel Craig every single time is saying, I want this character dead. It feels like Harrison Ford in Star Wars, and they have to kill him off because he's the star and they need him to be there because otherwise they don't have a franchise.
Well, that's I'm kind of glad to hear you say that because I remember you in the theater enjoying No Time to Die so much that you seriously started crying at the end.
I think it was shock the first time because I was not expecting them to kill James Bond because James Bond lives forever. But the more I thought about it, I was like, no, he could have gotten away from those missiles. That's really stupid. It's sort of just as stupid as the cops all going into the tunnel in The Dark Knight Rises, or them shutting down the stock market, even though Bane couldn't take all of Bruce Wayne's wealth, or that he didn't own his own house in The Dark Knight Rises. It's like he would have been able to own his own house. He paid that off. He would have had his own personal wealth. The stock market would not take away his money right away. He wouldn't be broke. His whole living isn't in the stock market, and they would take weeks and weeks to investigate before Bane could have even got that money. Like it's just one of those flaws that gets worse and worse the more you think about it.
Comparing it to Dark Knight Rises probably is the best analogy you can make with a movie like this. And
Yep.
especially with the people behind the camera. I mean, Cary Fukunaga, the guy that did True Detective and Beasts of No Nation, like he should have done a hell of a lot better than this.
Like even the cinematography, I think the best Bond cinematography you've ever had is Skyfall specifically because of the way they paint the villain and the shadows and the lights and the way
Well, it's Roger Deakins. I
it's
mean, dude
great. It's
doesn't miss.
phenomenal.
Dude
Like
never
GoldenEye's
misses.
good. I would say that Goldfinger has some great cinematography. I think you could definitely reach for The World Is Not Enough. I think that has great cinematography with its color design and its set and the way it moves with the submarine because submarine movies are incredibly hard to shoot at the end of the day. But Skyfall for me will always take cinematography. So just every time I watch the movie, it gets dumber and dumber and dumber. And I like that they brought back the girl. But what I wanted them to do is this is what I wanted for No Time to Die. And I'm going to make a lot of Bond fans mad here. This is what I'm going to do. I wanted him to get this family, and then the villain comes in and kills them. And that leads us to our big finale action sequence.
I
I
get
want
where
this.
you're coming from,
He needs a
but that
reason to
would
be revenge. He's
seem
soft Bond. He's gold Bond. He's nothing. He's not Bond at the end anymore.
like kill the girlfriend, maybe, not the whole family.
I'd be fine with the girlfriend. Kill Leia Seydoux or
Because,
whatever
like,
her
at
name is.
least, yeah, and I like Leia Seydoux, but that's not one of her best roles, in my opinion.
Well, Leia Seydoux is her career has just trickled off to whatever random foreign movies now. That pretty much that's it. There's no
I
big
don't know, like Dune
thing for
2, she
her.
was only in it for 5, 10 minutes, but she was one of the best parts.
Yeah, but she's a bit part character now. She's a character actor.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from blue is the warmest color, that's kind of always been her career. And even then, blue is the warmest color did not take off in spite of, or maybe because of the backlash it had, because of whether it was the filming conditions or how full frontal everything was.
Is that the one with Kate Blanchett?
No, Blue is the warmest color is this French lesbian movie that's like 3 hours,
Who's
and
in it with her? That's the question.
I
I've
don't know
seen
how
the
to pronounce.
poster.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's the girl that played Ennui in Inside Out 2, but that's my only other frame of reference.
Oh, I agree.
Adele, Adele Exchar or something like that.
Yeah, we played when this came out. I saw this movie. It didn't. I just sort of watched it and said cool, and that was my thought process, and I didn't think about it till now.
Which is most people's response to something like that.
Oh no. But going forward, do you want them to reboot? Do you want a new actor? What do you want from the James Bond franchise that's going to get you, a casual fan, being like, "This is cool. I'm going to watch that."
Just start over with a new Bond, honestly. Like maybe have like an older alumni as M, something like that. I would be curious if they tried like a 60s version of Casino Royale with previous
Mm,
Bonds and like a maybe as a 10-minute parody, not a full-length feature, because full disclosure, I haven't even seen the 60s Casino Royale. I just know that like Peter Sellers, Woody Allen, and I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck kind of Bond movie is that?
that is a production hell if there ever was one. No, that's not a good movie you should watch.
Okay.
I mean, there is a 1954 pilot where Peter Lorre plays Le Chiffre, which I highly recommend to watch.
That's ideal casting. I'll give it
Yeah,
that.
Peter Lorre is a great Le Chiffre, and it's a cool TV pilot they were trying to make for TV, but just never went anywhere. So, recommend if you can check that one out.
I just can't picture Bond in TV. That's just too small scale.
Well, back in the day, like you got to think like the
No, no,
climate
no. Back
was.
then, I
You had
understand.
Mission Impossible, you had I Spy, you had Wild Wild West, you had like this spy craze was happening like late 50s, early 60s. So,
But I mean, Mission Impossible, like the movies have already blown the legacy of the original show out of proportion without even, I don't
100%.
want to say without even trying, because there's
Well, the
obviously a
original
lot of
show
effort.
is definitely like I love the original Mission Impossible and I will watch it endlessly, but it is really lame compared to Tom Cruise in space. I'm sorry. It's just not as exciting.
Yeah, I think most people will agree with that.
But I mean, that gave us a lot of great actors that came out of their character actors at that time. So I will always pay respects to that. Like, and we had The Prisoner, which was great. That's another spy type show. We had Secret Agent Man. It was all the rage to be a spy. You had what's that? Man from Uncle was another big show. There was a remake movie a few years ago, which honestly, pretty good movie. I really enjoyed Man from Uncle. Alicia Vikander and the rest of the cast did a pretty good job of paying homage without being the exact same thing. So yeah, spies were all the rage in that time. So they're like, well, James Bond is popular, uh, right? So what if we make a TV show?
Got it.
Yeah. So I want Bond to die. I want them to stop. I don't want them to make any more James Bond. That's why I wanted to talk about this because I was like, there's nothing they can do to add to the legacy that's not going to hurt it. Because no matter what they do, no matter what production values they bring in, like people are like, Nolan can make a Bond movie now. That's not a Bond movie, that's a Nolan movie. Like there's nothing they can do to add to the legacy in any capacity. There's nothing they can do. Let it die, own the rights, distribute it on Blu-ray and DVD and do an anniversary thing once in a while and stuff. Like the whole formula is dated. The whole idea of Bond and the idea of loyalty to government doesn't fly anymore with people. Like there's nothing more you can do. Let it die. Let it stop and that's it.
I can agree with that.
It ended. When they raised the glass to Daniel Craig with the whiskey in the middle, that's the end of Bond. That's it. There's nothing left to be said. And so everyone's like, how do we resurrect Bond? You don't. You let it die. That's it. We're done. Because like when Mission Impossible is finishes, right, Tyler? Think of it this way. Do you want them to cast another Mission Impossible guy, or do you want them to say Tom Cruise did his final movie? It's exciting. It's done. This is it. Do you want them to stop, or do you want them to keep going? That's the question.
I do want them to stop, but I mean, it's unclear if they're even going to stick to that original intention because whether Tom Cruise is actually going to move on to other projects or milk this for all it's worth, that's apparently become a bit of recent discussion because of Glenn Powell's career taking off after Top Gun Maverick. There's this rumor that like they'd be able to somehow make him an IMF agent, which it's not to say like Glenn Powell can't be, but you'd have to do a lot in order to make it his own thing. Because Twisters tried doing that, and Twisters was okay. He was definitely the golden spot of that movie, but the movie itself just wasn't enough.
I mean, would he just be like the chief now and do a few stunts, and then Glenn Powell comes in and does sort of more of the stunts and becomes the main agent over a few movies? Because like it is Mission Impossible is Tom Cruise. As much as I love Ving Rhames and Rebecca Ferguson and all these characters, you go to watch Tom Cruise do the crazy stunts. Are we going to
Yeah.
have the same appeal to watch Glenn Powell do the crazy stunts? The movie stars is dead. I don't see any movie stars. Like we have Meryl Streep and Tom Cruise left, and they don't even have the box office draw anymore.
That's the tricky thing about it. Yeah.
Because
It's
we saw the last Mission Impossible. That was great.
it was, yeah, and God, I think Mission Impossible is like 2, 3 months away from the time we're recording this.
Goodness,
So
sign me up. Let's go.
yeah,
I'm
totally.
in. I will clear my schedule for Mission Impossible. Like that's how much I love what they're doing. I don't know what they're gonna do, and I haven't even seen a trailer, and I don't want to know.
How have you not seen a trailer? That's the only that trailer's been in front of every movie I went
You
to
know
this year.
how when you go to movie theaters and you close your eyes for trailers? I've been doing that.
I don't really do that anymore, to be honest. It's been, well, movies have been so underwhelming that like it doesn't matter if I close my eyes to the Minecraft movie, I already know it's gonna suck.
Oh my goodness, I forgot the Minecraft movie is
If
coming out. What the
anything,
heck is that?
if anything, keeping my eyes open during the Smurfs reboot because,
Oh goodness, no.
just do the
No.
same fucking thing as the Neil Patrick Harris one all over again because that was a
Okay.
good idea.
When I was a kid, I saw that the Smurfs existed, and we had the Grandpa Abram and the Smurfs record. And I played it once, and I thought, "Wow, I don't like this." And then they had like a couple Smurfs TV shows I saw, and I was like, "It's just them saying Smurf a lot." And
Yeah.
then they did a movie, and I was like, "Why are there Smurfs on my screen?" And now they're doing it again, and I can't for the life of me ever wonder like who is the Smurfs for? Like,
I
is this
don't
like
I
the
don't
Dora the
know.
Explorer crowd, the infant 3-year-olds who haven't developed brain cells yet, who are like, haha, blue. Is that who we're trying to appeal to? Am I fucking old, Tyler?
Well, if it is,
What
they're
is
not
this
gonna
for?
if it is, they're not gonna give a shit about John Goodman, Rihanna, Nick Offerman as the Smurfs or the non-binary whatever from X-Men 97
Yeah.
as Gargamel, apparently.
Okay, I forgot that Gargamel was a thing. That's the bad guy from
Everybody
Monsters
forgot
Region or
Gargamel was a
something.
thing.
But like, I would care more. So here's the thing: there are childhood franchises I would like to see reinvigorated. If you made another Inspector Gadget, I'd check it out. They've been doing that for a while. If you made a Care Bears movie, I thought that could be interesting. If you're
Don't
like,
no,
if you're
no,
like, hey, there's a
no.
Heat Man, I'll watch an episode. But if you're like, if you're looking at all the franchises, and you're like, here's the top of the list of what I want to see. The bottom is Smurfs. No one cares. No one gives a fuck about these blue Smurfs. I'm wearing blue, and I don't even give a fuck about these Smurfs, right? Like, who is
Okay,
it?
like first of all, Kevin Smith rebooted He-Man and killed him off in the first episode. So
It wasn't
already that
good,
failed.
but I had enough interest to watch it for one episode and
I
then go away from
guess.
it. I just didn't care after that, but I cared enough that He Man was interesting, and I watched the GI Joe movie. Like that wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it was ready. Mortal Kombat was interesting enough. They had some good fatalities. Like not a great movie, but there was interesting things in there. But there's not a single thing that interests me about watching a Smurf. You couldn't pay me $1 million.
I got nothing to add to that, man. I mean, the state of animation in North America is so bizarre and confusing. I mean, I saw The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie twice. The first time just because, well, technically I saw it a second time because one, a friend of mine wanted to see it, and two, the theatrical experience the first time was so awful that
Mm.
because the 5-year-old next to me would not shut up. He would not stop jumping in and out of his seat. And his, for lack of a better term, granny, like get the Looney Tunes reference there, just she didn't give a shit. Like she's from the era where people are supposed to sit down, shut up, and respect everyone around them. But like this was just another day on the sofa, according to them. And I just sat there and went, you know what? It's a good thing I have the second screening tomorrow because I only noticed the flaws of the Looney Tunes movie. Because the next day when I saw it, like it was still just fine. Like its biggest sin is that it's more for kids than it is for all ages, except for the random instances where Daffy twerks online for money.
Why is Daffy twerking? What? What
Because
the heck is that?
Because Chuck Jones would have wanted that, damn it. Now, I will admit there are only three times where you actually see his naked ass, which look, I get that there was like cross-dressing in the originals, but like there was context behind that. They needed the disguise to like hide or trick the villains. Like there was a reason they did that taboo.
I
This
see a
one,
lot of naked bird butt, but it's only at Thanksgiving.
exactly. And somehow that was more awkward to look at than Porky Pig with no genitals whatsoever.
Well, they can't show that. Did they have that Speedy Gonzales character, or is that just gone now?
Um, well, Gabriel Iglesias played Speedy in the Space Jam
Yeah.
2, and every interview he had, he just sat there and went, we Mexicans actually do like Speedy. The problem isn't that we don't like it, it's that you fuckers don't.
So let me ask you this then. Would you rather have seen Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Stood Still or them not have canned and destroyed the Acme movie with Wile E. Coyote?
That's a good question because other than the basic premise, I don't really know whether or not it would have been good because I've never been fans of Will Forte or John Cena, who are like the main human stars of it. Like they're the lawyers for Wiley and for Acme. Like Cena's Acme's suck up defense attorney. Forte's the one fighting for Wiley. I don't like either one of them, even though I acknowledge like they can be funny and have done good stuff in the past. But like I just don't know what a courtroom movie about a character who is mostly silent. I don't know what that would entail. Like obviously the first 10 minutes would be Acme destruction after another of Wiley failing to kill the Roadrunner, getting fed up with just how shitty the products are and just launching the suit. There would be a there would probably be a ton of cameo appearances from other Looney Tune characters like Yosemite Sam or Foghorn Leghorn, just anyone I can imagine who would also order the Acme products for their own shenanigans. Hell, you can even throw in Sylvester in any attempt he has to kill Tweety. Like the possibilities were endless there. But that's the thing, it's potential and possibilities. I don't know whether or not they would have succeeded at it. Because on the one hand, you have the Batgirl movie that got canceled at the very last minute for a tax write-off that sounded like it would have been a mid movie at best from the details I've heard. Like it wouldn't be awful, but
I was curious about that movie because I wanted to see what Brendan Fraser would do. Because
he's the only part I would have been curious about, to be
because
honest.
after the whale, I was like, I didn't love the whale, but I liked. He really brought it back. He really tried. He really put it all into his performance. What would he have done for a Batgirl movie? They're talking about like a Mummy reboot with him in it. I don't know if that's real or not.
He's not going to do that. I know he says
Oh,
he would like to, but I mean, that is the
that look
reason.
like? I don't know.
But that is the reason that he had health problems to begin with. He had to have back surgery because of the third one.
That third Mummy movie is something else. It's got Jet Li.
That's all it had.
My goodness, did you ever play the video game of the Mummy 3?
No.
So
But
they would do license games, but there's supposed to be 10 levels. It says 10 levels on the case. There are 4, and then the game just stops and it breaks. It's a completely unfinished game.
yeah, I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking
I
about
just
Looney Tunes, but I don't know. After the last Space Jam, I was like, no, maybe.
trust me, this is nothing like a Space Jam movie. For one, it is fully 2D animated, which is
Mm.
beautiful to see on the big screen. I think Bob's Burgers might have been the last movie that was 2D and made by America.
Well, Bob's Burgers was actually a fun movie. I didn't love it, but I had a good time with it. I thought,
I've
this
heard
worthless
mixed things from
cartoon, and I
fans.
like it. I thought it was all right. I had a good time. I just didn't think it blew my mind.
I didn't see it just because I get the sense of humor of Bob's Burgers. I just don't find it that funny. I
Mm.
recognize that it's different, but that might also like be the drawback for me. But it does suck that like animation, 2D animation anyways, always has to come from abroad, and even then you have to go extremely out of your way just to support it, which I would do regardless. But I mean, it does suck that our city didn't even get something like Kensuke's Kingdom, which was a
Never heard of it.
beautiful movie based off of what's apparently a pretty good book.
Hmm.
It has stuff like it has an actor like Ken Watanabe in it, but it's mostly visually
Oh, the
told.
Let Them Fight guy.
Yeah, in a similar vein to Flow, there isn't that much dialogue, a lot of characters just working off each other. It's kind of like the Studio Ghibli movie The Red Turtle, but with a couple extra characters,
Mhm.
but like the same survival environmental concept is there, and it's so well done that it just pissed me off that I can only watch it at my house. Meanwhile, you get whatever Illumination garbage or Disney trying and failing to capture what was good about their original movies to begin with. And it just makes you realize that 2D animated movies didn't fail in the 2000s because they were 2D. They failed because they just weren't given the proper stories. Like Treasure Planet's not awful, but like
Love Treasure Planet so much. You have
the
no idea.
story's not that great.
It's Treasure Island. That's it.
Yeah, I know, but well, the sci-fi stuff was hit and miss, but
Oh my goodness. I adored Treasure Planet as a child. And to this day, I adore Treasure Planet. Is it a perfect movie? No. But my goodness, that is one of the coolest movies I could have ever watched as a kid. That and Spy Kids.
when it comes to Disney sci-fi, like Atlantis is my
Mm.
main thing because I love the hell out of that one.
That's a cool movie too.
And that was the other problem. Like 2D Disney movies weren't musicals. They were sci-fi. They were like slice of life because Lilo and Stitch was half sci-fi, half family drama. Trying to think what else. Emperor's New Groove was more of like a straight up slapstick comedy, but not in
That
the
was a silly
traditional
movie.
sense.
What else was Chicken Little around that time? Was that same thing or is that
That
computer?
wasn't 2D, but I mean that had the same
Oh
problems.
my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that Disney lost it and they haven't got it back since.
Inside Out 2 is like the best thing they've done in
So
years.
Pixar had it.
Yeah, but I mean
Pixar
that's
had it,
under
but
the
that,
Disney banner.
yeah, but they own the Muppets too. So and they own a lot of stuff. It's just their direct official Disney doesn't. Their
I
distribution
get what
company
you
got fired.
mean,
Yeah,
but I still feel like Disney has a grip on what they can or can't do.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, like I wanted more out of Lightyear. That was a big disappointment. I was so bored.
Everyone wanted more out of
So
Lightyear, man.
bored. I could have taken a nap instead for 2 hours.
Buzz being Zurg, like what the fuck?
Meh, meh.
Andy's
It's
favorite Andy's favorite movie. Bullshit.
Yeah, no, it's not good. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Because Andy
Uh,
would want the least investing, least useful character in the fucking movie.
I believe that Andy's favorite movie was like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift or something really dumb that you just turn your brain off to, like a stupid Arnold movie or
Dude,
something.
Andy grew up in the 90s.
Probably True Lies then.
Okay, fine, whatever.
You don't like True Lies? I love True Lies. They
No,
just did a fourth
I find
Hank
that
thing.
hard to I find that hard to believe even from like the mid 90s because it doesn't reflect the stuff he played with as a kid.
Or maybe like a Western from that time. Maybe like Tombstone.
I can see that.
I like Tombstone a lot. That is Kurt Russell's best performance for me.
That's
Love
one of
Tombstone.
them.
Super great. So that's pretty much what we're going to discuss today. Now I got some. Now this is the surprise part, Tyler. So we're going to do some games. So you can cut this up for YouTube Shorts, so you can keep it in together. But I've been thinking because at Oscar trivia, I started these different games because I was tired of asking questions. So people weren't like, "Oh, well, what movie is that?" Or "I don't know the answer to Meryl Streep's fifth film." It's like it was too hard. So I made this equally as hard, but a different game. So I started this. It's called Obscure Movie Quotes. Dun, 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 obscure movie quotes. So it's a popular movie, but I've chosen the most obscure quote I can from it. but it has context clues in it. Now, keep in mind that it will give you a little bit of there's a word or two that should signal what the movie is, or, you know, there's a hint in it. And I can give you a hint if you are completely stuck because some of these are insanely hard. And I thought, why not have my buddy Tyler do the insane hard movie game?
Just give it to me, man.
All right. First up in his obscure movie quotes. I'm going to read them in the most monotone, boring voice ever so you have no clue on what he's from. This is my favorite part. I never learned to read.
Wayne's World.
Okay, that was supposed to be hard. How do you know that?
I never learned to read.
Okay, this is
Because
good.
that's the Oscar consideration bit. Like, that was so hilarious.
Well, there
We
we
all
go.
know there's no film in this camera.
Well,
That's just one of
good.
my favorite. That's just one of my favorite parts, and
Well,
it's
I
been
picked
memed. It's been
all these
memed to
movies are
death.
ones I think you've seen, so I've tried to at least put that in that realm.
Okay.
So movies you might have seen here. It is I, Sidney Feldman.
Sidney Feldman. God.
It's
I
a
might need it.
90s movie.
Sidney Feldman. I might need a hint on this one.
So it's a 90s movie and it has John Cusack.
Say anything?
We're looking for Gross Point Blank.
Uh, you know what? I haven't seen that one, to be
Oh,
honest.
you would have seen that one. I've seen
I
that
should
movie. It's
I
pretty
should have
good,
by
honestly.
now.
Yeah.
Most
All right. Here we go. This one's fun. Oh my God, you're getting on the freeway. Murray, what do I do? Your face is great.
Oh God.
That's the beginning of the quote. Yes. Oh God. That's where I
Hint,
have
please.
hint. It is a rom-com.
That was okay. I'm not sure how that was a hint, but okay.
It is a rom-com, and it is 90s.
On the freeway.
On the freeway.
Shit, I don't know this one.
We're looking for Clueless. Yes.
I've never watched Clueless all the way
Never
through.
watched Clueless. Clueless is great. It's super
The parts
fun.
I've seen weren't the greatest. Like the virgin who can't drive bit, I do like that line, but
Well, that's what this is from.
yes, I know
The movie
that.
Clueless.
Next one, damn it.
By Garthorpe's Hammer, what a savings.
That's 90s.
This is the quote. I'm not telling you when it's from. By Garthorpe's Hammer, what a savings.
And
I'm looking for a sci-fi movie.
well, that narrows it down.
The quote is said by Alan Rickman.
By Garthorpe's Hammer. Is that Galaxy Quest?
It is Galaxy Quest.
Okay, because I can't
that
imagine
movie either.
not all the way through.
I love that movie. Love Galaxy. Maybe these are movies I love and would.
You said Alan Rickman, and like I can't think of him. There's no other sci-fi movie that I can imagine him being in.
Well, I didn't want to give you Tim Allen.
Yeah,
that's the only other movies he's done beside the Santa Claus and Home Improvement.
Well, that people would actually know. Yeah.
All right. I hope you get this one. I really do. So
I hope I get more than two at this point.
We thought you was a toad.
We thought you was a toad. I love the way he says that, man. Like, God, this is why he's such an underrated actor. Like, I mean, I saw him in Holes before, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But I mean, still, you gotta love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou just for Tim Blake Nelson.
That's the one. All right, this one's fun. Whenever someone walks out a door, good luck. We're all counting on you.
Well, oh, Jesus, that's Airplane, man.
Is Airplane. You know who said it?
The one and only Leslie Nielsen,
It's
the
a
one
legend.
part that everyone, the one actor people actually know in that.
Mm. Here we go. When I say I love you, but make it nerdy.
That's quite a quote, not gonna lie.
The hint is musical.
Make it nerdy. What kind of musical? Huh.
This one's a good one. It's a stumper.
It must be, because I can't think of any musical that would say that.
Would you like me to continue the quote and give you a little more context?
That'd be great, actually.
Well, Janet, I really loved the skillful way you beat the other girls to the bride's bouquet.
Oh, okay. Well, once you say that actual word, that's more of the lyric.
It is, but it's
Damn it,
catchy.
Janet, that is Rocky Horror.
It is. It is. All right. Here's a fun one from my favorites to watch. Hand over the diamond, garden gal.
One of your favorites, huh?
Yeah, I love this movie. I
Huh.
shouldn't love this movie, but I do.
And
It's a fourth film in a franchise.
fourth film of franchise. It's not Bond, is it?
No, no, it's not a Bond movie.
Okay.
That was
Hand over the diamond.
okay. Let me do it this way. Hand over the diamond, you garden gal.
Oh, that fourth. Oh, God. Okay, because there's no ice in the sentence, I wouldn't have gotten that, okay?
Chill. I love Batman and Robin more than anyone should for the wrong reasons. It's so stupid.
Hey, you enjoy it for the only reasons there are.
All right,
I
let's
mean, in
look.
all fairness, I did find Trap so bad it's good just because of how
Mm.
stupid everything was.
Oh no! Look at me. I'm a killer, and there's cops. Wow.
Let me just blurt out the trap to the potential fucking suspect.
Hey, there's cops
Idiot.
everywhere. You should go hide. All right. Okay. I got a few more here. Um, her name is going to be Julia Gulia. That's funny.
Okay, I definitely don't know this one.
I think you do. I think you do.
Context?
It's we're gonna give you Adam Sandler.
Sorry, what's the quote again?
Her name is going to be Julia Gulia. That's funny.
Adam Sandler, huh? That's
He did a lot of movies.
yeah, and they're all pretty much the same, so that doesn't really narrow it
That's
down.
fair.
What's that?
That's fair. All of them are, except for Uncut Gems. I'll give you Uncut Gems is a very different movie, or Punch Drunk Love.
Well, by technicality, yeah.
Reality, yes.
Pixels?
We're going wedding singer here.
Oh, is that what he says like the Drew Barrymore's baby's name's gonna be?
That's correct.
Oh God.
All right, here we go.
See, I know a lot of wedding singer quotes. That's I always like to quote again, things that should have been brought to my attention yesterday.
All right, here we go. Whenever someone asks me if I'd like to do something with them, I say, "You bet your ass I wish to proceed."
That's such a generic quote. I can't really
Oh, but you know it.
really, and I would know it
You know
because
it. because your hint is Christmas.
I think people give me a Christmas reputation more than I should.
You don't like Christmas movies, Tyler?
I do, but I haven't watched as many as people might
I
let on. Like, what's
guarantee
the
you,
quote? What's the quote again?
I guarantee you've seen this. Whenever someone asks me if I'd like to do something with them, I say, "You bet your ass I wish to proceed."
It's Christmas, huh? If it's Jingle All the Way, I haven't seen it,
It
so
is Die Hard. It is the computer
shits.
guy talking about cracking open the safe.
See, I never pay attention to that character.
Oh, he's great. All
I
right.
was too busy paying attention to Argyle.
I got two more, and then so the next quote is today, Crosby, today.
Crosby.
Crosby.
Huh.
Crosby is in all caps, according to the quote. Take that information what you will.
That's no information whatsoever.
The hint is robot.
What's the quote?
Today, Crosby, today.
iRobot?
Looking for a short circuit.
You think I've seen Short
I
Circuit?
love Short Circuit. You've never seen Short Circuit?
I've only seen the Hey, Laser Lips, your mama
Johnny
was a
Five is
snowblower.
high. All right. Last quote on here. Are you classified as human? Negative. I am a meat popsicle.
Good quote, but
Great quote. It's my favorite quote. That's why I saved it for last.
that figures.
See, this one's really going to kick you because I'm fairly certain we've talked about this movie at a certain point.
There's a good possibility.
I think it was on one of our lists somewhere.
All we did was lists for like a year or so, so
I
that doesn't
mean,
really
we
narrow it
should do
down.
top 10 lists of our favorite lists.
No, no, never.
That's what Watch Mojo will eventually degrade into. Our top 10 list. We've.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised they haven't done that already. I'm blown away that they're still at it at this point.
Yeah.
I love how much I've distracted from the actual question at this
Are you
point.
classified as human? Negative. I am a meat popsicle.
And that's from what era? What?
We are looking at what type of clue do you want? Because I want you to get this one.
Whatever clue you think will get me this.
I will give you the clue of Milja Jokovic.
Fifth Element?
It is. I love the Fifth Element.
Because that's the only movie of hers I would probably watch voluntarily.
I mean, Monster Hunter is super fun. Okay.
Maybe for you.
I like Monster Hunter a lot, and I like Resident Evil more than anyone should. Okay.
I knew that.
Game number 2. Cut it up. Put it up there. Name the movie based upon the tagline. I will give you
God.
the era it came out in and the tagline, and you have to figure out what the movie's called. I'm going to give you the tagline based upon the original poster, not a reprint, not a reissue DVD, what the original tagline was for the movie. They do contain complex clues in there if you pick out certain words, phrases, or the way they say it. I will say it as the genre to help you out.
Okay,
Ready,
I
Tyler?
guess at this
You
point.
ready to rumble with the taglines?
No, but just do it anyways.
From the moment they met, it was murder. 1950s.
Double Indemnity?
It is. I made it too easy. All
That's
right.
the only one I can think of.
Well,
Honestly.
I tried to pick movies that weren't too obscure. Like I wanted to go Dead End, but you're not going to get Dead End.
No, I totally wouldn't.
All right. There were 7, and they fought like 700. The 1960s.
Oh, that's Seven Samurai.
No.
Or is it the Magnificent Seven?
It is. It's the
Okay.
copycat movie. Yes, yes. Okay.
that makes a little more sense.
The 1960s. A man went looking for America, but he couldn't find it anywhere.
I don't know why. The first thing that comes to mind is Patton, but that doesn't make any sense.
It's not patent.
Went looking for America, but didn't find it anywhere. Sorry, what year was this?
It's going to be the 60s. Late 60s, if you want to get specific.
Nothing's coming to mind on that one, not gonna lie.
We are looking for Easy Rider.
Okay, you know what? That does make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. All right, here we go. The happiest sound in all the world.
The Sound of Music?
It is. They get harder.
I love how these taglines actually suit the name of the movie.
They should, because some of them don't. Like I was gonna put in there, like "Be afraid, be very afraid," but then you would know it is The Fly. You know, it's too obvious.
You know what? I wouldn't have got it until you said it just now, to be
Really?
honest.
That's like the biggest parody of scary movies out there. All right, on every street in every country, there's a nobody who dreams of being a somebody. We're looking at 70s.
Hmm. Sorry, one more time?
There, on every street in every country, there is a nobody who dreams of being a somebody. 1970s. My screen's up there. That's why I keep moving to look at it.
I don't think it's Taxi Driver, but that
You've
I
just
can
said the title. That is the correct answer.
that you say wants to be somebody. For some reason that didn't click, but he's on every but a taxi driver's on every street in every country. So that was
See, I tried to make this game a little easier than the last.
oh gee, you think?
All right, here we go. The true story of a real fake. 2000s.
Shattered Glass?
Looking for Catch Me If You Can.
Ah,
See, that's a good tagline.
that
Spielberg knew what he was
is
doing there.
that's
All right.
totally. I'm still like spoiled of the poster where it's the two of them in a blurry background. I do
Yes,
like how minimalist that is.
it's a good poster. Also, a really good movie.
Very.
Maybe DiCaprio's best performance. I've underrated that one for a long time.
It's one of them.
It's good stuff. Tom Hanks is also excellent.
Oh yeah.
Well, from the brother of the director of Ghost, we're looking at 1990s. This came out in.
I don't even know who directed Ghost. Wow.
Yes, from the brother of the director of Ghost.
Huh. Oh,
You've seen this movie.
that doesn't help.
It came out in the 90s.
It's still not helpful.
You have guessed. Would you like to wager a guess?
No, no, I wouldn't actually.
We're looking for Naked Gun 33 and a third.
Shit.
What a great tagline, right?
One of the Zucker brothers made Ghost? Really?
I don't know, but that's the tagline. All right, here we go.
Okay, I gotta look into that just to be absolutely sure, because that doesn't sound right. I mean, I'm sure it's possible. Oh shit, Jerry Zucker did make it. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, okay, like good for him, I guess.
The
You went
more you
from
know
Ghost
with the
to
Rainbow
Rat
Man.
Race. That interesting choices.
Oh, right. Here we go. Work sucks. We're looking at the 90s.
That's too easy, man. That's Office Space.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, let's try this one on for size. He may be dead, but he's the life of the party.
That is a stumper. Yeah.
Hmm. You know the movie. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is in pulp culture. And it is, I would say, late 80s movie.
Maybe dead, but the life of the party.
Yes.
It's not Better Off Dead Fred, but
We're looking for Weekend at Bernie's.
ah shit.
All right, we'll do one more here, and then we'll wrap the show. Let's do this one. Great trilogies come in threes.
I take it this is a comedy.
This is a 2000s, 90s comedy. Yes.
I am gonna say Goldmember.
No. We're looking for Scary Movie 3.
Oh, I
Let's
mean, it has the same mentality. I mean,
Okay. Let me see if you can get one more then, because I want you to end off on a winner here. When a girl has a heart of ice, there's only one way to melt it. Just add ice.
please tell me that's not Frozen.
No.
Okay, well,
It's the 90s. Frozen didn't come out in the 90s.
Heart of Ice.
Heart of ice. When a girl has a heart of ice, there's only one way to melt it. Just add ice.
90s are just weird.
I don't know if you've seen this, but you definitely know what it is.
Let's add ice. What the fuck?
Just add ice. It will make perfect sense when I explain it. Okay,
I'm sure it would.
When a girl has a heart of ice, there's only one way to melt it. Just add ice. Dun, 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 dun. It's from the movie Ice Ice Baby, starring Vanilla Ice.
Really?
Well, Cool as Ice is the official title, but it's also called
Yeah,
Ice
I know
Ice
that.
Baby. And
Oh.
Tyler, tell us all about what you're doing this week on the channel.
I'm wasting my time on this fucking trivia because that'll be when I put this video up.
You gotta clip out that Ed bit. That was priceless.
No, well, yeah, totally. God, there are so many things I could clip out of this one. But yeah, I'll be having more Looney Tunes cartoons now that as shorts now that The Day the Earth Blew Up is in theaters. I'm also putting out Goofy shorts in anticipation for the 30th anniversary of a Goofy movie coming out in April.
Goofy movie.
Because that'll be, yeah, 30 years ago. That'll be the movie that should not have been as big a hit as it was, but
I love the Goofy
we'll
movie.
see if it still holds up. And look forward on Dark Hours channel, the edit who I edited for, he'll be for whatever reason putting up a rant on Snow White because it'll be the millionth one, and Lord knows we haven't heard enough shit about how awful it'll be.
You can find me here on Tyler's channel in a couple of weeks, wherever flying fine blue flannel is sold, because that's my whole style now. Blue flannel, wear it everywhere I go, wear it as a coat. But check out all of Tyler's stuff. And Tyler, you get the last word.
Ice, ice, baby.
Ice, ice, baby.